Welcome to Fridays in the Field, brought to you by FNBO, the great big small bank. Welcome back here to central Nebraska. Now, typically we'd have Jacob Roth in this spot, but a big congratulations to him and his family as they just welcomed in a new baby. So I'm filling in for Jacob this week as we come back to Dawson County to talk with Don Batie about his research trials here in central Nebraska. And Don, thanks so much for being able to talk with us once again. But as we come back in, we've gotten some good moisture since your first conversation. So tell us, how are the crops looking?
Most of the crops look fantastic. We did get an inch and a half of rain just a little bit ago. Unfortunately, got a little bit of hail, so it stripped up a few of the leaves. Probably not going to be a major yield reduction, but you know, hail is never a good thing.
Every little bit takes off of it. And let's talk about the research. So in the pivot that we're currently standing on, it's nematodes and it's cover crops are two of the major things that you're studying. So let's start there first with the nematodes. So this is fascinating to me. You're focusing on Bt traits, and these nematodes are to help maximize those traits. Is that right?
Right. These are good nematodes. When I first tell farmers I injected nematodes in my farm, they look at me like I'm crazy, and I quite frankly probably am. But these are insect-eating nematodes. They eat the insect larvae in the soil. And so the hope is that, and they are naturally occurring in Nebraska. However, this strain was actually developed in Cornell to be a little bit more persistent and long-lasting. So the hope is that the nematodes in the ground will help prevent resistance to our Bt herbicides that are currently used for rootworm. And so that's what this is, a second year of a 4-year trial on that.
So coming in, so this is year 2 of it. You're going to replicate it though another 2 years, and that's
Correct.
The thing to keep in mind with research. You do it over multiple years, multiple seasons to get a good aggregate of data.
Correct. 4 years on there, plus there are multiple farms involved. I'm one of 3 cooperators in around Lexington, plus there's 3 more cooperators south of North Platte. And I've been told it's being replicated in states all the way from Colorado to Indiana. So it's being replicated in multiple places to find out if this is actually a workable scenario.
Now I can see farmers sitting at home right now watching us and they're going, how did you actually get nematodes put out on it? So if you could, if that isn't trade secrets, tell us how you got the nematodes on the ground.
The nematodes came, and I'm working with Dr. Julie Peterson of the West Central Research Center, North Platte. And so the nematodes arrived, they diluted them in some water, and they had to put a aquarium bubbler in it to keep oxygen moving, and so it's in a slurry. They brought out 30 gallons, which who knows how many nematodes it contained, probably millions. And we actually injected that through our chemigation port on our pivot. So yeah, it's very strange, but it worked out quite well. I've been told the nematodes survived when they did their soil samples, the nematodes lived, and so that's great.
There you go, the injection port on a pivot. It has so many more purposes than what we initially think.
Yeah, that was when they first told me that's how they're going to put them in. I looked at it kind of puzzled, but.
The other half of the research that's going on this pivot, though, is cover crops, which
Correct.
Actually you were just finished up drilling as we were getting ready to shoot our piece here today. So tell us what variety of cover crops or what blend of cover crops are going in, and what's the thought there?
It's a very diverse blend where you have winter wheat, rye, annual ryegrass, rapeseed, clovers, buckwheat, flax, cowpeas. Like I say, we threw a lot of stuff in it. The idea is they have noticed fields with cover crops seem to have less issues with rootworms, but they don't know why. So that's part of the research, is to figure out what's going on. What synergy is the cover crops doing with the rootworms? And so we have the 2 different things we're doing, and we split it. Each practice has a half a pivot, but they're rotated, so we have 4 different practices out here. And so right where we're standing actually has both nematodes and cover crop on it. And it's, again, long-term research to figure out what the synergistics are.
So it's going to be really interesting to see, and then what a wide variety, a lot of biodiversity is going to be happening when you have those on. Early thoughts, if it helps on the rootworm side of it, is it going to have any impact to yield, especially given the fact that while we've gotten good moisture, we're still not out of a drought?
I was a little concerned about that my first year, but last year, honestly, we had the annual ryegrass survived well, the cowpeas survived, the buckwheat isn't early and it died off real early. I'm not sure the cereal rye or the winter wheat did much. Flax, I really don't have any idea what flax looks like, so I don't know if we had flax survived or not. So it was, you know, right now the corn is about knee high as I was drilling it, so the corn will canopy pretty quick. Really don't expect any detrimental effects to the cover crops, except what little on the ends turning around, I'd knock some corn over with the tractor. So it's one of those intriguing research things. It's a long term. We'll see what happens.
You got a lot of research going on the farm. Thank you so much for sharing in with us. What are going to be some things you're going to be working on here on the next couple weeks before we get a visit again?
Right away, we'll be starting to side dress all of our nitrogen on all of our gravity irrigated fields. We're going to be ridging, getting pipe laid out, start water running. Right now, corn is in its maximum growth stage. We're knee high now. In a couple weeks, it'll be head high. So things are changing fast right now.
It's one where you can almost just sit out here and just listen to the corn grow.
You could.
And again, is Don Batie here for Fridays in the Field, brought to you by FNBO, the Great Big Small Bank.